it's Brittany at Ink and Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how you too can level up your projects using die cuts. We'll talk a little bit about the Sizzix Big Shot machine and some nuances of using and organizing the dies, but really today is going to be more of a fun show and tell where I show you some of the projects that I've recently been working on using dies to really make the projects a pop and how I like to use those projects in my journals. So here I am holding up some of the dies I bought recently. I did get a couple from Michael's, but I have to tell you the best deals by far I found on AliExpress, and yes, I went a little bit overboard. As you'll see, I'm holding up some dies that have some really small pieces or just don't really necessarily look like anything necessarily. When the dies show up, when you buy them online on places like AliExpress, oftentimes it comes in clear packaging without any reference as to a picture of what the die is supposed to look like. So I find that if you, while you're shopping, if you take a screenshot of the ad online or of the item, what it's supposed to look like, that actually can be quite helpful. So here I'm just starting by taking a piece of paper. I don't like to measure anything, as you guys know, so I just line it up with my cutting plate and snip, snip, snip down the middle, and then get ready to put it through my machine. I don't know about you guys, some dies, you know how they're connected by those little metal pieces. Some dies I leave together and some dies I take apart depending on how much space there is in between them. Hopefully that makes sense. If there is a lot of space between them, I think it creates a lot of dead space and like wasted paper. But if they're close together, sometimes it's just easier to keep them together, but that's just me. So one little nuance I've discovered is the sharp edge is always going to be against the paper, but depending on the type of die, the die may be sticking out with the paper underneath it, or the die may be sitting with the sharp side up and then the paper on top. I hope that makes sense. Regardless of the die that I'm using, I pretty much always run it through my machine twice. And as you can see here, a lot of the time the dies just pop out. For dies with very intricate cuts and a lot of detail, I find that a little pokey tool, that's definitely not the right term, but you'll see in a second, I have a couple of different tools that came with my Cricut machine. I'm sure you can buy these separately, but these are just tools that I find to be really helpful when doing, well, quote unquote, extricating the dies from the die cut. Wow, I absolutely love that gold, and I think the thickness of this paper is perfect. I think it holds up better when the paper is a little bit thicker. There tends to be less ripping and nice sharper cuts, and I love that. And don't forget, you can use the negative of these as well. I oftentimes will cut around the silhouette and use that in a project and like back it with paper, or I'll use them in Scrappy Notebooks as a nice little decoration on top. Sometimes I'll even use them as a stencil and just take an ink dauber, ink it up, and stencil the image. So perfect. Okay, so we're done with this. Sorry you guys had to watch me fussy cut a little bit there. I just couldn't see these going to waste, especially on that really, really pretty gold paper. Yes, I know, I'm still storing my dies in the packaging they came in. It was good originally because I could just stack them on top of each other and keep the pieces together, but now the clear packaging is ripping and they're falling everywhere, so I need to come up with a folio or some way to better access them and organize them, but hey, I guess that's for a future video. And voila, these are the projects I've been dying to show you. If you're looking for a project where you can use up some really small die cuts, how about these cute faux postage stamps made from paper bag, some watercolor, some stamping, and yes, cute little die cuts. So if you've been watching the channel recently, you know I have been on one heck of a scrappy notebook kick. These scrappy notebooks are great to have on the go, to store little mementos or jot notes down. Sometimes I make them just to store in my bigger journals, but basically we're just folding a piece of paper onto itself twice and stapling or sewing scrap pieces of paper in those areas 3 times, and then creating a small closure like you see here. On this notebook, I've just added a little butterfly die cut to the very front and have dolled it up with some stickles or liquid pearls. Here is another one. Again, I'm just using a charm as a closure and have actually made the base from a really pretty book page from a garden book, and I've sort of incorporated those themes. And of course I put a bug die cut on the front. So, you know, these don't have to be really intricate projects. I'm simply using these die cuts to embellish and keeping it really simple. If you do want to see more examples of these scrappy notebooks and the full process, I will link a video above and in the description box below. Different notebook, same process. Again, I have decorated and embellished the outside of this notebook with various die cuts. I really like those word die cuts next to the fairy, and here same process, and I was really proud of myself for actually coordinating these papers this time. So I had no idea what I was doing with this one, but somehow it just worked. I have this window die cut I love. I think I'm going to make a windowed cover out of it in the future, but I just backed the die cut of the window with a model that was all glammed up as if you're peeking into, actually that sounds kind of creepy, never mind, but I do love the way this notebook turned out nevertheless. Here you'll see I've incorporated all different kinds of scrap paper. That includes the cross-stitch templates, digital printables, even some old jelly prints I had. So don't be afraid to use your scraps. They don't have to match. It works. Just do it. Don't overthink it. So these cute little envelopes were actually made from a die cut itself, though you can obviously just fold a paper onto itself and create an envelope and then decorate it with a die cut as I have here. On the back I have punched an eyelet and have attached either ribbon or string with a bead or charm on the end to create a closure, and have dolled it up a little bit more, but I just thought these were darling and I kind of had to share them with you. I love the pink and the green together. To me it looks very tropical, and I have just attached a little bead on the end to create a closure, and I can't wait to stuff these full of little goodies. So it just kind of dawned on me that die cuts make amazing specimen cards. Oftentimes I like to put flowers or other dried botanical materials in it, but I thought, why not a die cut? It's thin, it'll lay flat well, you have a front and a back, perfect. And of course, I found some die cuts that contain the word seed, so naturally I had to make some seed packets. I love playing with ephemera from old seed magazines, as you guys have probably seen in my prior videos, so this just felt like a natural piece of journal ephemera that I had to make. And oh my gosh, this fun thing, I love the ocean, I love the beach, I love everything about the water, and I took a windowed envelope, put some confetti, some sea-themed confetti in it, and sewed all around it, dolled it up with some nautical cardstock. I took some corrugated cardboard to sort of look like a fence, a beach fence, and put some gesso on it, and put a beach chair with an umbrella die cut, and of course took some die cuts. You see the starfish, the shell, the fish. I just love this, and then I left some journaling room on the back. So I'm so excited to be giving you guys a sneak peek of this botanical journal that I've been working on. It is nowhere near done, however. Some of the die cut projects I've been working at are inside the journal. Sorry about the shoddy camera work. I wanted to give you guys a full 360. And so even though I love this cover, it's probably one of the most simple covers I've actually ever made. It is simply a digital image front and back glued and Mod Podged onto the cover. I added a little bit of paint and I think some gold flecks in there, but really it's just that, and then fabric over the spine with a little bit of bedazzling. The front cover has some pockets in there that I've sewn, and the closure again is as simple as can be with just a ribbon. So these die cuts here are very simple. I've simply used a die cut to frame a digital image, and I have used a scrap piece of paper with flowers on it to inspire me basically to just continue on the pattern with watercolor painting. The page next to it, I have some die cuts decorated there. It's a seed catalog page, so it's just a die cut of a plant leaf. And you can see on the picture of the bird, I have just simply placed a die cut leaf there to kind of symbolize that the page is something to be opened. You'll see more nature themed die cuts on this page, which is also from a seed catalog. The page next to it is just a fairy themed page. It's already pretty and decorated just with digital images. I just added a fairy die cut onto this purple pocket. To me, it kind of looks like she's sitting on or leaning onto the pocket, which I thought was really cool. Here's another one of those photo themed die cuts, and I have simply framed a picture and put a word there that I really liked, and the page is embellished with some sunflower burlap that I just cut out, and of course another die cut of a butterfly. More floral themed die cuts just used as page trim on the left, and on the right I've used the floral die cut to decorate a belly band. In the belly band is some embossed paper that I also did with my Sizzix Big Shot. I don't know if you remembered that disaster of a video. You will be happy to know that my embossing efforts are moving along much more swimmingly with the help of some other YouTubers and my delightful audience that left me plenty of helpful comments. In case you're wondering, I have no idea how many butterfly die cuts that I bought, but I just love them, and here's another one. This flip out folio is so random. I don't know the rhyme or reason behind this. It needs some unifying things. I don't know, I'm gonna come back and work on this later. This page doesn't have any die cuts on it. I just love these digital images. They're so childlike and bright, so I had to share them with you. These aren't die cuts, but I actually used a paper punch to punch those circles and backed some digital images in there, and I really love how this came out. I kind of made it into like a bookmark topper, and then glued down a card. I glued down just the sides so that it would be a pocket. Okay, now we're getting a little bit wild. I had a die cut of a bunny and a chick, and somehow this evolved into a peep inspired layout. Yes, peeps like the marshmallows. I guess it kind of fits in with the spring and botanical themes, but this was too adorable to pass up, so I just kept going down that road, and that's where we landed. Just as you see here, I love using die cuts as page trim / page tabs. Oh my gosh, what can I tell you about this layout? This layout just kind of took on a life of its own. I used sewing paper, first Mod Podged it down, distressed it, did some stamping, and somehow ended up with the bird cage die cut up there, and it just worked, and I love this so much. This here is a layout using some of those seed catalog seed packets that I showed you earlier. If there's one die cut that I would say is worth the investment that you will use over and over and over, it is letters. So find yourself some good ones and use them. Here I've created a layout with a glassine envelope on top, and I've just framed it and added some die cut embellishments to it to keep with the theme, and I've actually used the glassine envelope to create a flip up. I really love this layout. I'm not sure that it really fits with the theme of the whole journal, but I don't know. I loved it. There are some butterflies in there. It looks very classy, and so I figured why not just go with it. So the digital image of this flower inspired me to do a whole page layout next to it, and I fell in love with this pocket die cut and thought, what a beautiful vase. Let's make some flowers to put in this pocket. So I have embellished those die cut flowers with some watercolor. And you could see the gold flecks come through on the stem, and oh my gosh, I just love this so much. So I watercolored in some flowers for the background. I spiced up the pocket with some gold gilding wax and put the flowers inside, and I love it. And the blue flower theme kind of continues on. I put a floral poem in the best handwriting that I can muster up, and again I have done some watercolor painting here and used these die cuts as like specimen cards to put die cuts of flower. There's an egg that you see there, and some lettering. I even did some doodles at the bottom. This page is definitely not complete, but I had to show you this botanical altered paperclip I made. There's so much going on here. I made this with magazine image and wrapping paper, and of course there's another butterfly die cut on the page. Next to it, I have this beautiful card, and I've started to decorate, again, still incomplete. I think I'm just going to use this page for some extra journaling room. So you will be getting a full flip through of this journal when it is complete, I promise. I hope this video inspired you to incorporate die cuts into some of your projects, whether you buy your die cuts or cut them at home yourself. I hope this also gave you some new ideas for projects. Maybe you've never thought to use die cuts and specimen cards. That was new to me as well, and I love how they turned out, and I can't wait to make more. If you want to share how you use die cuts in your projects, I would love to hear from you. Please drop a comment below, and if you want to see more of ink and papyrus, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you the next time.